Medieval liturgical music. How is it related to Harry Potter, boys' bands, electric prunes, every piece of music you've ever heard? Let's talk about it. Middle Ages is the time span between fall of Rome and fall of Constantinople. It means that the beginning of the period is as far in time from its end as Charles III from Edward the Confessor. Also, medieval age is a term that is mostly about Europe. Even in China, the fall of South European empires was not affecting politics and culture a lot, not to mention Americas or Australia. On the other hand, we know tons of European medieval music pieces and only a few non-European. One of the main reasons for that is Christianity. But why? Most of religions has a long-running musical tradition. Christianity is not an exception. Christians are obsessed with singing. Even Jesus was going to the Mount of Olives with a hymn. That's why the spreading of the Christianity also means the spreading of Christian singing tradition. But it wasn't spreading in a vacuum, it was reacting with popular folklore culture. Take A Solis Ortus Cardine, for example. It was composed by Caelius Sidulius by 450. It consists of 23 couplets and tells the story about the life of Jesus. And common people were using couplet 17 as a spell against bleeding. The church, as it seems, was not trying to undeceive listeners in the magic powers of Christian hymns. There are lots of medieval texts about miracles of instant healing by carefully selected chants. New songs were used not only as healing methods, but also as an inspiration for creation of other songs. Maybe the oldest known Eucharistic hymn was created in Ireland in the 7th century. Mix it with local musical tradition, Christian chants were gaining new and sometimes unusual sounding. Celtic chant in Britain and Ireland. Mozarabic chant in Spain. Gallican chant in France. Ambrosian or Milanese chant in Italy. Beneventan chant, also Italy. Armenian chant in Armenia. Byzantine chant. All of them were coexisting with the Old Roman chant. And the Old Roman chant was slowly transforming into the most well-known to the modern listener Gregorian chant. And there were lots of other types of chanting which are not known at all. New songs were slowly joining the liturgy, making it more complex with time, so the first professional choirs saw the light, like Aachener Domchor, boys' choir, which was founded in 782 in Germany. It is possible that it is the oldest boys' band still around. But why is that? Most people have heard about the Gregorian chant, but not about any other. Although the creation of style is attributed to Pope Gregory I, in fact he was long dead when it was developed. In the beginning of the 9th century, Gregorian chant was spreading over Europe pretty fast. In the end of the 9th century, popes began to ban other chant styles. That is not because popes were bored of old tracks, there were political and theological reasons for that. Talking about theology, the problem was that types of chants were combined with the rite, way, order and even the text of liturgy. And those rites, including the Gregorian one, were becoming more and more controversial from the point of view of the official church. Even more, clerics in Constantinople, religious center of Eastern Europe, had a long tradition of calling black everything that was proclaimed white by Roman clerics. Even more, there were several denominations that separated from mainstream Christianity at the very beginning, like Monophysites. They still exist, by the way. Christian Church was in lack of unity, and Roman popes wanted to unite it under their power, so standardization of the rite was important. By the middle of the 11th century, all the major competitors of Gregorian chant were forbidden. By the beginning of the 13th century, in Western Europe Gregorian chant was almost the only used, while in the East Byzantine chant and different local variations of it were prevailing. Starting here, the main goal was to preserve the adopted musical tradition within the Catholic Church, but new hymns were created from time to time, often on a base of existing tunes. Political storms, crusades, epidemics, attempts to stop epidemics by burning Jews, even separation of the Church to Catholic and Eastern Orthodox, all of that was not affecting church choirs a lot up to the 14th century. Then how did it come to the present state of infinite diversity? The Mass is the central part of the Catholic liturgy. The texts that are sung are always the same, but the music could be very different. Starting in the 14th century, the Mass drags more and more attention of composers, both unknown and famous. The Mass of Toulouse. Tournai Mass. Messe de Notre Dame by famous composer Guillaume de Machaut. Barcelona Mass. Manuscript includes a collection of masses and giving an impression of liturgical music in Great Britain on the edge of the 15th century. In the late Middle Ages, secular songs was still an influence for liturgical music. For instance, before 1450, the little song about the armed man appeared. Scientists are still arguing about the meaning of the lyrics, but it is known that it was very popular. And more than 40 masses were written on a base of this tune. Seems like liturgical music wasn't so standard anymore. Writing of a mass was becoming a work, sometimes even a fun, for secular composers, and this music is not as related to the church business as before. There are masses by Mozart, Beethoven, Haydn, there is the Little Jazz Mass by Bob Chilcott. And even the Mass in F minor by Electric Prunes. And in order to feel the way covered by music in about 10-15 centuries, here is the first Gloria introduced in that video. Seems like those two songs have nothing in common, but in fact all the Western music is heavily based on medieval liturgical music. It's because behind it is not only the tradition, but lots of innovations, without which the modern music is nearly impossible. Like musical notation with staves, invented by monk Guido of Arezzo in the 11th century. And medieval music is still used in Christian churches all over the world. It is used by modern bands like Gregorian or Enigma. It is an inspiration for music composed for Death Note. And medieval chant Lauda Sion made it to Harry Potter.
Lauda Sion Salvatorem, lauda ducem et